and welcome back to chapter 3 of the online poll system and Twitch integration for a narration-based video game. In the previous chapter, we created a generic system that allows us to do an online poll, at least in theory. Now we are going to need to integrate this system in the game. We are going to need an audience, which I don't have, so this is an issue. How do we get an audience? Well, you could either spend days and months creating videos and interesting content, or you could just program them to exist. Debug online poll handler. A fake way to simulate an audience and a whole API, etc, etc. So, we don't need this, we don't need to be a mono behavior, we need to be AI online poll handler. As you remember, online poll handlers are the functions that need to exist to work. Can we start a new poll? We are going to consider that only one request can be done at the same time. Not request online poll. Current poll. This is null. We can start a poll if there is no poll currently going. Start poll. So what this is going to do is remember what poll is going on, and when this stops a poll, on request finished, wait, if request to stop is, if the poll that has been asked to stop is the current one, we stop it and we forget about it. That way we can start a new poll. We are going to need a way to start a poll, so what I am going to do is create a game object. Private game object, go coroutine executor. Runner. If there is no runner, we create a new one. I'm going to create a new game object in the scene with a mono behavior that's going to, as a coroutine, simulate the poll answers. This is a mono behavior and dot set handler this. We are going to need to remember the handler. And don't destroy and load this game object, please. Debug poll online handler is going to simulate a chat and a group of people answering the question. We are going to have a game object in our scene. That way we can have coroutine, we can have basically anything. So start coroutine, simulate chat. I highly recommend learning coroutines if you don't know how to use them. This is going to be a very dirty one. This is debug. So while true, yield, return, new, wait 4 seconds, we are going to wait a random amount of time. A random amount of time between 0.01 seconds and 5 seconds. Then we are going to send to the handler on chat message. The handler is going to have its own way of handling whatever happens, and it decides what it's going to do with it. So in my case, I'm just going to create a fake on chat message callback. And let's imagine that this is the Twitch API, for example. So what we are going to do is switch random.range anything between 0 and 10. Case 0, fake message, poggers. Case 1, fake message. This is going to answer one of the questions. The chat is going to type 1, 2, 3, 4 to answer number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. So we're going to have to deal with the people who have fun doing this, have fun doing this, etc, etc. So any number between -5 and 10, that yippee maybe handle multi-line messages. This game is great. Wow, I can't believe how good. Whoa. Yeah, okay, 10 messages may have been too many. Between 0 and 4. So now we have a fake message. And what we are going to do is just send it back to our handler. This is the living fake chat saying silly things. Boom, we can close that. Now, this gets called when the chat has sent a message. We check if there's a poll ongoing. If there's no poll, we can already stop. We shouldn't even be listening to the chat if there's no poll. We check if the message begins with our special character. If chat message starts with for this chat, the way that we've decided to handle the answers. But for example, if we integrate the Twitch API poll system, this is probably going to be a much easier without needing to check the string, check the messages, etc., etc. But let's imagine the worst case scenario. So if the chat message starts with an exclamation point, I just remove the first character, and if it's a number, then we need to check if the result is above 0 and below length. Then we have a new vote to our poll. Current poll.add vote. To end result, we add 1 vote. You know what? Let's do that. String s user. Let's have a list of users. We don't want someone to be able to vote twice per poll. John, Mary, Kate, Blueberry Man, Super Duper Gamer, and me and my bros. So we do a fake message from anyone. So a random user sent us one of these messages. When we receive that message, we check if there's a poll ongoing. If there's a poll, we check if the message begins with the special character. No. This is where we are going to need private hashset string already voted. This is going to be the list of the people who have already voted. So when a poll stops, the list gets cleared. When someone votes, if they have not already voted, then okay, one by one. We check if the message begins without special character. We remove the special character. We check if it's a number after that. If it is, then we make sure it's in the bounds of our answers. Finally, we check if this user hasn't already voted. If they haven't, we count their votes. Okay, so this is the part that handles the chat message. The last thing we need to do is register our online poll. What I am going to do for this is use the runtime initialize onload method attribute. This is a system from Unity that isn't too well known, but that I kind of like. And it's a function that gets called as soon as the awake methods of the first scene have been called. So, auto register. Runtime initialize onload method. This method is going to get called automatically. And we can prove that with a debug. Online poll manager dot is a new debug online poll handler. So as soon as the game starts, we create a new debug poll handler and we set it as the current online poll handler. We have everything we need to simulate the chat. Okay, so delete me. And on start, it's going to ask online poll manager to start a new online poll. How are you doing? And the answers are good, bad. This gives us a poll. We want this poll to give us, on the vote counts changed, a callback. Generate method. And when the vote count changed, we are going to debug.log we debug for int I equals 0, I inferior poll.s answers, loop through all of the poll answers, debug.log poll.s answers I poll dot and get vote count I. On start, we start a new poll using our fake automatically registered poll handler, and we listen to when the vote count has changed. For now, we are just going to debug, but for example, we could raise the size of a bar on the UI, make a sound, anything really. Okay, so let's make our game object. Let's add the delete me debug, and let's have our console open and run. The first thing that should happen is our fake chat registering. Fake chat has been auto-registered. Mary has voted. Mary tried to vote again, but it was not valid. This game is great. John has voted, so it's 2 for good, 0 for bad. Blueberry Man has voted. Me and my bros has voted. Everyone has voted for the first time. Perfect. This is working. Now we can do whatever we want with our vote, since anything can listen to the results of the poll. So as you can guess, next time it's going to be making a system that is able to listen to the chat, a real chat instead of this, or maybe do a Twitter poll, and then integrate it for real in the Twitch API. Thank you for watching.